With the check of your ag weather, I'm Paul Perkins. After some lingering light rain and drizzle today and highs in the 40s, strong high pressure building in from the west. Behind departing low pressure results in north wind gusts of 35 to 40 for tonight through most of tomorrow. Cloud cover breaking up tonight. Sunshine returning tomorrow with highs in the mid-40s to the low 50s. Southwest winds make Wednesday the mildest day of the next week with highs in the upper 50s to the 60s. A cold front Wednesday night ushers in much colder air for Thanksgiving through the holiday weekend. Highs dropping off to 40 to 45 on Thanksgiving, the 30s for Friday and Saturday. Light snow is possible for Friday through Saturday with approaching low pressure. The better accumulation chances, though, to the west. Sunday, we warm slightly to around 40. In the long-term forecast, colder than normal temperatures are likely for Nebraska, Kansas, and much of the U.S. this weekend through the first 3 days of December, especially in Nebraska and Kansas this weekend through early next week. This weekend through December 3rd, near normal precipitation is indicated for Nebraska and northern Kansas, while areas to the south of I-70 in Kansas see slightly above normal precipitation. Key weather factors impacting the markets include a storm moving through the west, followed by colder temperatures, heavy rain in southern Brazil, and a week of favorable rain in central Brazil. Low pressure crossing the central and southern plains today turns northeastward and strengthens. An enhanced threat of severe thunderstorms peaks this late day into tomorrow across the south, especially from the lower Mississippi Valley eastward. Thunderstorms provide much needed rain in key drought areas, with event total precipitation expected to reach 1 to 2 inches or more from the Mississippi Delta to the Atlantic coast, except for the Florida Peninsula. Later this week, colder air trails the departing storm, especially from the northern plains into the northeast. Thanksgiving Day high temperatures are mostly above 50 across the southern half of the U.S., peaking at 80 or higher in southern Florida. That compares with Thanksgiving high temperatures remaining below 32 across parts of the northern plains and upper Great Lakes. Post-Thanksgiving highlights include dry weather nearly nationwide, except some lingering rain in the lower southeast and snow in the Rockies. Across the central and southern plains, rain is possible in southern areas late in the week, and that cold front dropping south could bring highland snow and much colder air for the weekend into next week. In Brazil, heavy rain from the south worked northward into the central states this past weekend. All this week in central Brazil, rains are more typical of the wet season. Soil moisture deficits are large in central Brazil, and it's going to take more than a week's worth of normal rain to turn things around. Central Brazil rain next week becomes more isolated. Another round of heavier rain moves back into southern Brazil the middle of this week as conditions remain unfavorable for developing corn and soybeans. Towards Argentina, rain was more limited over the weekend. Scattered rain moves through Argentina tomorrow and Wednesday before it's drier again until next week. If the drier weather does not last too long, conditions stay favorable for Argentina. Overseas in Europe, most areas outside of Spain stay wet with more rain this week and active weather continuing next week. Some of Europe could use a break to allow for more planting and sunlight for establishment. The conditions remain favorable, though, for winter wheat establishment. With the check of your ag weather, I'm Paul Perkins.